Right now at 10, that man you see crashing through a security checkpoint is none other than the suspected White House Correspondents' Dinner shooter. Tonight, hear President Donald Trump's reaction to the latest footage. After months of missed paychecks and airport chaos, a deal to end the DHS government shutdown is finally signed tonight. Our Washington correspondent lays out the complex timeline. Plus, police say a group of masked men entered a Baton Rouge gym and shot at this man several times before escaping. Tonight, police are tracking down the unnamed suspects. KTRE 9 News starts right now.
Caring, committed, proud of East Texas. You're watching KTRE 9 News.
Good evening, East Texas, and thanks for joining us. I'm Brooke Deering. We're continuing our first alert weather days into tomorrow as more rain moves into deep East Texas, and many counties still face that potential flooding. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Brad Lozak, who has more on what we're keeping an eye on across the Piney Woods. Brad, what can you tell us?
Brooke, we've been talking about wet weather all week long, and it kind of comes to a climax tomorrow with the best day for widespread heavy rains throughout East Texas. So that's why our first alert weather days will get extended for just one more day. But tomorrow will be a super soaker across all of the Piney Woods. And because of that, we have flood watches out for 5 of our East Texas counties. They include Polk, Tyler, Trinity, as well as Jasper, Newton County. So basically areas south of the Neches River. I wouldn't be surprised if more counties are included, and that's because we could see an additional 2 to 3 inches of rain. And what that means is if you know those typical low-lying, flood-prone areas that are susceptible to taking on high water, then they may have some issues by the time we get to tomorrow afternoon. So here's Futurecast showing first thing in the morning, temperatures in the 50s. It's going to be cool, wet. You and the kids are going to need the rain ponchos and the rain gear because it is going to be wet. And just notice throughout the day, we just see light to moderate rain overspread East Texas. We may catch a little break in the afternoon, but we'll still have pockets of rain linger until this time tomorrow night. But as we get into the weekend, skies clear out, we dry out. We've got some very nice weather coming our way after that. We'll talk about that and have your complete 7-day forecast straight ahead.
Brad, thank you. New tonight, state lawmakers are looking at how to decrease the cost of health care for Texans. Policy solutions weren't the focus of today's select committee hearing on health care affordability. Instead, lawmakers heard invited testimony on why health care costs have become so out of reach for so many. The discussion delved into insurance costs and rural health care. Ken Yonda is a former health insurance executive.
Rural issues, you really have to almost think about healthcare more as a utility than as a competitive environment. Do you have a doctor at all? And the burnout, and how do you keep people in those areas?
The committee meets tomorrow in Austin. The execution was carried out tonight for a convicted North Texas murderer. James Broadnax was sentenced to die for the 2008 shootings of 2 men outside a suburban Dallas recording studio. The lethal injection came hours after the Supreme Court rejected a request for a stay of execution. New details tonight on the White House Correspondents' Dinner shooting as prosecutors release new video of what they say is the shooter rushing past the first security checkpoint. What you're seeing here is the moment of surveillance video that shows suspect Cole Thomas Allen rushing past several guards. Earlier in the video at the top left, you see the alleged attacker walk through a doorway. Then you see the suspect run through the checkpoint, followed by law enforcement drawing their guns.
Well, they did a pretty good job, actually. You know, they stopped the NFL running back. I mean, he was like a running back. In fact, if he ever got out, they're probably going to sign him. He was a speedy guy, but he was stopped. They had many levels in front of him before he would even come to us.
Allen's attorneys told a federal judge today that they would not fight a motion to keep their client behind bars as the case continues. Tonight, sights of smoke rising from the southern Lebanon region reveal ongoing tensions between the country and Israel. This is despite the U.S. brokered ceasefire. Tonight, President Donald Trump says, quote, Iran is dying to make a deal. The war powers resolution puts a 60-day clock on the use of military force without congressional authorization. Lawmakers say that deadline is Friday. Tonight, after more than 2 months, the Department of Homeland Security is back open, with President Trump signing a bill funding most of the agency just hours ago. KTRA 9's Washington correspondent Emma Wolfhorst is in D.C. with more.
After stalling for a month, the House finally approved funding for DHS.
Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
The bill passed Thursday via a voice vote, a call of verbal yays and nays, a very rare way to pass this type of legislation. The Senate already passed this version of the DHS funding measure more than a month ago, but multiple conservative House Republicans refused to support it. That's because it doesn't include money for ICE or Customs and Border Protection. ICE is already funded through President Trump's so-called One Big Beautiful Bill. Thursday's bill funds the other agencies under DHS, TSA, FEMA, and the Coast Guard.
We held the Homeland bill, the underlying funding bill, because we had to ensure that they could not isolate and eliminate those two critical agencies. We are getting those done now. We passed the resolution first. That was critically important for us to do to ensure that we're going to protect the Homeland, even though Democrats are unwilling to do it.
House Speaker Mike Johnson refused to bring this bipartisan Senate legislation to the floor for a month. It would have needed some Democratic votes to pass, putting Johnson in a difficult spot with his Republican colleagues. GOP leaders were under intensifying pressure from centrist Republicans to resolve this standoff before the House left town for next week's recess. In a statement, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries said, quote, "For more than 2 months, Donald Trump and House Republicans have kept the Department of Homeland Security shut down because of their toxic demand to spend billions of taxpayer dollars on ICE brutality. Today, the extremists backed down," end quote.
TSA employees paid by the DHS have gotten some back pay, throughout the shutdown. A shocking discovery inside the 7 Points Police Department. Evidence left behind for more than a year, now possibly compromised. The Henderson County DA's office requested evidence in a pending case, but officers couldn't find it. So they went back to the old building and found moldy items, rusted firearms, and SANE kits, or more commonly known as rape kits. The chief says it goes back to a 2025 storm and a failed move. And now the DA's office is investigating what cases could be affected.
But we broke down this door and we found items there, firearms rusted out and so forth. And then when we examined further things like the fridge, which contains the SANE kits and so forth, it was all moldy. And
for now, Katsoulis says he doesn't know how widespread the damage is or how many cases could be tied to that evidence, and the recovered evidence has now been moved to their evidence locker while the investigation continues. Tonight, we're following up with a shooting investigation out of Louisiana, where one man was shot and killed at a gym. The investigation is underway as we speak, with police calling it a targeted attack. Cameron Phillips details what we know so far.
We're following up on all the leads that we have. We're reviewing information and evidence that we have, but we need the public's assistance.
An investigation into a high-profile murder in broad daylight is off to a slow start.
We know it's a lot of social media chatter about this particular shooting, and we're asking if anybody know anything, please call us. They can remain anonymous.
Authorities confirming today that 46-year-old West Clark was shot and killed in the parking lot at Gain God Fitness just off Greenwell Springs Road. BRPD Lieutenant Elgene McNeely relaying the latest in what happened.
It was a targeted attack. The victim was out there working out, and as he was working out, we know those two suspects walked up and fired upon the victim multiple times, thus killing him at the scene.
Police say the shooters were wearing masks when they opened fire on Clark around noon on Wednesday. Both of them got away.
They left the scene on foot. We know that it was a vehicle somewhere close that they got into.
People living nearby watched as police converged on this unexpected crime scene in a search for clues. Gunfire and screams at the scene had everyone in shock.
Once they found out about the shooting, came to the scene, they wanted to see actually what transpired.
Clark's Instagram page includes several pictures of him with prominent local rapper Fredo Bang, the influential artist, telling WAFB in a statement earlier today that Clark will be missed, crediting his manager with helping him become the artist he is today. Both are associated with Top Boy Gorilla, or TBG, a popular rap collective. People across social media are calling for answers into who put this tragedy into motion.
The community wants to know. We see and feel that there's some association involving certain groups here in Baton Rouge, but it's nothing that we can openly say at this particular time because it is an ongoing investigation.
No suspects or motive have been identified at this time. Tonight in Oklahoma, a man running for state senate has been found dead. Barry Christian was reported missing after he failed to show up for a scheduled meeting on Tuesday. The Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation says they located Christian's truck Thursday, crashed into a ravine near the town of Eric. Authorities say the 54-year-old's body was inside, but they have not determined his cause of death. Also, breaking from Washington State tonight, 4 students, a security guard, and a suspect are injured in a stabbing at a high school in Tacoma, Washington. Authorities said the 4 students injured at Foss High School were in critical condition. The suspect, a student, was taken into custody and taken to a hospital. Some students told a local TV station there the stabbing stemmed from an earlier dispute. A horrific incident involving a 5-year-old boy caught on camera. Tonight we follow up with the parents of the boy, check in on his recovery, and reveal the charges of the driver. That story in just 60 seconds. 5-year-old Julian Hernandez is back on his bike nearly 2 weeks after a hit and run left him with road rash and a brain bleed. Marissa Sisk with our sister station hears the parents' perspective and learns how the community is supporting the boy's recovery.
There you go, buddy.
For 5-year-old Julian Hernandez, riding his bike wasn't just a hobby.
It's important to him. It's something that he loves. So. And even the mailman will tell you that.
Nearly 2 weeks ago, that ride almost cost him everything. He got caught under a truck on this intersection, dragged and left behind. His dad was just seconds away.
Usually he just comes right behind me. He'll follow me home, and I wasn't paying attention just for a split second. And when I turned in the driveway, when I got out, I heard him screaming.
A neighbor's security camera captured the moment. A screech that still echoes for his family.
Screaming is the only thing I could hear, and I can't see real good, so when I got close enough to him, he was covered in blood.
The alleged driver, 65-year-old Gordon Fultz, paused for a moment, then drove off. A tip led police to him at a casino in Wilson. Fultz was arrested for leaving the scene and faces a DUI charge, but he's since bonded out, leaving the parents to ask why.
Why did that guy get behind the wheel and, do what he did? And why didn't he help him?
This is the intersection where Julian and his family's life changed in an instant, where he suffered road rash and a brain bleed. But tonight, a stranger is refusing to let that be the end of the story.
Look at that.
An anonymous donor graciously gave Julian a new bicycle in his favorite color.
Do you like the color?
Yeah.
You said blue was your favorite.
Says Julian, it is no fun being out of commission, but if anyone can tough it out, it's you. After all, there's no keeping a good like you down for long. Enjoy your new bike. Always your helmet. So proud of you.
Julian took that advice to heart.
Always remember to buckle it.
Always.
And for the first time since the accident, he hit the pedals.
Oh, yeah.
Mom and Dad never left his side.
He's nervous. Nervous. Because, at any second they can split. You know what I mean?
Julian still has a long road to recovery.
Yeah.
But tonight, he's riding that road.
We're glad he's okay. The family still has a GoFundMe page up to help raise money to cover his injuries. To find that, simply search up Julian Hernandez's name and add Ardmore to your search. Women from Laredo came together today to invite others to commemorate International Women's Motorcyclist Day. This Saturday, the Women's Motorcycle Club will go for a ride to commemorate International Women's Biker Day. On this day, women around the world enjoy this sport by riding safely and encouraging their fellow riders to join them. Well, we want to keep you up to date with the flood watches over our region as we head into tonight to ensure that you and your family stay safe. Chief Meteorologist Brad Lozak joins us now from the First Alert Weather Center with a broader look at our forecast. What can you tell us as we head into Friday, Brad?
Brooke, I think everybody, parents, kiddos, you're going to need the rain ponchos in a big way in the morning. Don't forget them because it is going to be a super soaker coming up for tomorrow. So here's a look at your forecast. And again, we're talking a 100% chance of rain. You don't get that very often, but that's what we have in store for your TGIF. And with that, temperatures are going to stay pretty cool out there for the first day of May. Temperatures generally hovering upper 50s to right around 60 degrees. I'll have details on what the weekend forecast has in store. All those details and more are moments away.
First Alert Weather is sponsored by Copper Top Roofing.
It was a slow rain today, kind of moving through in waves, and I think tomorrow's rain will be light to moderate in nature, but it should stay pretty persistent throughout the day. So we will add on to totals, and this is nice to see given our ongoing drought conditions. So let's take you right over to First Alert Radar Network tonight. The sky's dripping just a little bit out there. Nothing real heavy, just some light showers passing through from time to time. You can see over the past 3 hours, everything moving west to east, and that will be the current setting up for tomorrow as well. So again, you'll hear a little pitter patter tonight, good sleeping weather, but certainly nothing heavy, and we don't anticipate any thunderstorms at this time. Take a look at your updated rainfall. Not much has changed from what we showed you at 6 o'clock. Some of you probably added another 1/10 of an inch in your rain gauges from what we had a few hours ago, but nothing much more than that. Linda Catlin and Nacogdoches, 9/10 of an inch of rain so far today, and then you work your way over into Sabine County and Milam, where Michael Dickerson, 1 6/65 of an inch of rain. He got about the similar amount yesterday with those storms, so he's up to close to 3 inches of rain in just the past 24 hours. Meanwhile, Crockett, 28/100 of an inch from Glenda, Douglas there, Jordan, McPike, and Groveton, close to 3/4 of an inch, Keith and Lufkin, 8/10. Sherry and Carrizo Creek, 1 38/100 of an inch, and around 1/3 of an inch from Kip and Pollock. So again, we've got some clouds and some rain out there, and by the way, it is pretty cool, and it's going to stay that way tomorrow. The thermometer's not going to be moving a whole lot. Right now, it's 58 Nacogdoches, 60 Lufkin, 61 for us in Huntington, 59 in San Augustine, and Roy Butler up in Timpson coming in at 60 degrees. So you can see the rain continues to back build off to our west, and so all that, the steering currents are going to take it over East Texas, and it's all being caused by this spin. You see that counterclockwise swirl right there? That's the upper low that's been hanging out over Baja, getting a little closer, and as it moves through Texas tomorrow, that enhances the lift in the atmosphere, and that's what's going to give us our good chances for rain. So look at this. This is 7 o'clock in the morning. And I mean, we're socked in rain. Same thing for our friends out in the Brazos Valley, Houston, Galveston, all the way over to Austin, San Antonio, and the Hill Country. So pretty wet conditions for the Lone Star State. And notice throughout the day, we continue to see the rain. Eventually, some of the heavier stuff shifts over eastern Louisiana and Mississippi. But again, we're still talking good rains and then letting up late in the day. Tomorrow evening, maybe a few renegade sprinkles or showers. But here's the good news. From a timing standpoint, everything is out of here by the weekend. So Saturday morning, we may have a few clouds to start, then skies break up, and then we'll have cool northerly breezes out there, feeling crisp, feeling refreshing and rejuvenating. I think you're going to love this first weekend of May. Feeling more like it probably should in March, but it's been so warm and balmy, if not stormy at times the past few weekends, but we're going to make up for it this weekend, and Sunday is going to be absolutely fantastic with high pressure overhead. So in terms of rainfall, 2 to 3 inches in the next week, 3 to 4 inches further south towards Houston. By the way, most of this is going to fall, has fallen already, and will fall tomorrow. So I think when we add everything up over the past 3 days, it'll be in that 2 to 3 inch range, which is why we have those flood watches out for our southern counties. So that chance of rain tomorrow, 100%. You don't see it very often, but it's almost a surefire guarantee at this point. And then again, this weekend looks great. Chilly in the mornings, but the humidity's low. Again, pretty good for any of your outdoor plans here. And then going into next week, we'll gradually warm things up, and then we'll kind of target next Wednesday for our next chance to see some scattered showers and thunderstorms make a return to the forecast. Your Loving Auto Group First Alert Weather umbrella winner for tonight is Shakita Sidney from Lufkin. And tonight is the last night of Project Tornado, so I hope you'd enjoyed the trivia. And this one deals with when was the last EF4 tornado to hit East Texas? Well, here's the results, and you can see A majority of you said Van Zandt County, which is, of course, where Canton's located. That is correct. They had an EF4 tornado back in April of 2017. You guys are well schooled. You must have some pretty good instructors, but we want to thank everybody for playing Project Tornado. And don't forget, even though it comes to an end today, you can still download the app and get all this great information that our weather teams put together any time of year, day or night, at your convenience. So make sure you check it out.
Thanks, Brett. Happening now with the sold-out Savannah Bananas game on Saturday. Some fans are still trying to find last-minute resale tickets. However, scammers are trying to upcharge prices or even create fake tickets. Better Business Bureau Communications Director Jason Meza says keeping your guard up is important to prevent falling victims to these scams. Playoffs on the diamond continue here in the Piney Woods for our East Texas baseball and softball teams. See who's moving on to the next round and more. Up next in sports.
Well, stickball playoffs continue here in the Piney Woods, even through the wet weather we've been having over these past couple of days. So let's go ahead and check out some of those highlights. The Grapeland Sandies and Alto Yellow Jackets facing in the bi-district round. Diego Fajardo with a hard out to center field, but it'll bring home a run in the second. Sandies now up 5-3. They'd push across 4 more in the inning, including this 2-out RBI single from trailing Gaines. Sandies would win game 1 in a rout 16-6 in 5 innings. Game 2 shortly after game 1 following suit. So far, Grapeland leading 6-3 heading into the 6th inning. And taking a look at some of our other scores on the baseball diamond across the Piney Woods, Central Heights taking care of the Boona Cougars with ease, 10-0 the final there. And talk about a shootout between the Garrison Bulldogs and the Groveton Indians. Garrison opening up the day with the 9th spot in the first, but the Indians pushing until the very end. Bulldogs, though, staving off the comeback 11-8 in game 1. And over across the way from Grapeland and Alto, Central Heights facing off in the area round against Anderson Shira on the softball diamond. 1-0 Lady Devil lead in the second. Carly Mock laying down a beautiful bunt with 2 runners on. Lady Devils try to backpick the runner at second, but she gets back in safe, while Kaylee Longoria coming in from third to tie this game up at 1 apiece. Central Heights, though, tough as nails, not letting the air determine this one. Lady Devils winning game 1 7-6. And checking out some of the other softball scores here in East Texas. Central with a close win over Cold Springs Oakhurst 3-2, while the Brooklyn Lady Cats coming off their first state title appearance in program history last year, making it back to the region semis after taking down Apple Springs in 2 games, 15-2 earlier today. The Astros and Orioles facing off in game 1 of their doubleheader. Bottom of the 5th, O's up 1-0. Adley Rutschman getting a hold of one out to deep center field. Track, wall, in and out of the glove of Bryce Matthews, and it's a grand slam for Baltimore and Rutschman's 3rd of his career. You can see it here. It just goes in and out of his glove. Then in the 7th, same situation, same result. Different name, though. Jeremiah Jackson with the 2nd grand slam of the game for the O's. They take game 1 10-3 before Houston getting their get back in game 2 11-5. And before we go, let's go ahead and take a look at this. Over in the NBA playoffs, the Knicks and Hawks, game 6 of the series, and it's a record-breaking game just at the half, with the Knicks setting the all-time record for the largest lead at the half in NBA playoff history, taking a 47-point lead against the Hawks here in game 6. The previous record held by last year's Pacers team and the 2017 Cavs was at 41 points. In this game, not even close for the Hawks, booking their flights to Cancun maybe during the halfway break in a 140-89 loss. Well, that's all the time we have for In Sports here tonight, but be sure to stick around as we have more coming up after the break.
Forget waiting online. Fans of Foo Fighters had to go old school in a line to get their hands on tickets for a pop-up show in Sayreville, New Jersey. Tickets for the Saturday night show are only $30 each with a limit of 2 per person. They went on sale Thursday morning but could only be purchased in person at the venue. As a result, there were long lines and some fans even camped out overnight. The show will be intimate since the venue holds about 2,500 people. Well, that's all the time we have here at 10. Don't forget, Good Morning East Texas starts right here at 4:30 in the morning. Until then, you can find the very latest news, weather, and sports 24/7 on our KTRE mobile app and our streaming channel, East Texas Now. Make it a great night.
Coming up on East Texas tonight on East Texas Now, we're taking you a trip over a decade ago where we got to experience the Peanut Butter Emporium. I know, get hungry. We're going to go on an adventure straight ahead on East Texas Tonight.
Get your news wherever you are. Sponsored by Tipton Ford. This week's Pet of the Week is Murphy. Submit your pet's photo on the Pet Project app today. Make sure they're dressed for whatever the weather has in store with the bus stop forecast on Good Morning East Texas.